All right, things are moving incredibly fast in the Persian Gulf. After weeks of tension that had pretty much the entire world on edge, we are now seeing a sudden, and I mean major, de-escalation. Let's get right into what's happening. And this is the big story. Just a short while ago, Iran's foreign minister dropped a bombshell. The Strait of Hormuz is, and I'm quoting here, completely open as part of a new 10-day ceasefire. You know, this is a huge reversal, and it could change everything for the region. So the million-dollar question is why? Why the sudden change of heart? What on earth could have pushed Tehran to make such a huge concession after weeks of digging in their heels? Well, it turns out it wasn't just one thing. It really comes down to a 1-2 punch. On one side, you had relentless military pressure from that U.S. naval blockade. And on the other, a really critical diplomatic breakthrough, that brand new ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. Okay, so let's look at the military side first. As you can see in this animation, for 5 straight days, the U.S. Navy had a blockade running in the Gulf of Oman. It was basically a hard line that any ships tied to Iran just could not cross. And the key thing here is they did all this without any major shots being fired. And how effective was it? Well, we've got the numbers. According to U.S. Central Command, a full 14 different vessels got the message from the U.S. Navy and either turned right back around to Iran or just steered clear of the blockade altogether. That tells you it was working. Big time. Now for the other piece of this puzzle, diplomacy. The U.S. president announced a 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. And what's so fascinating here is that this ceasefire was reportedly a key demand from Iran itself. So by getting it, Iran could spin their own de-escalation. It wasn't about surrendering to the U.S., it was a strategic choice now that their demands were met. It gave them the perfect political off-ramp. So what was the immediate fallout from all this? Well, the impact was felt right away across the region, especially for the countries that had been right in the middle of the conflict. And maybe nowhere was that relief felt more than in the United Arab Emirates. I mean, just look at this timeline. They went from weeks of nonstop missile and drone attacks from Iran to a full week of total calm. That calm was so real that the U.S. State Department went ahead and lifted its shelter-in-place order for government staff there. That is a massive sign of things getting back to normal. And let me tell you, the UAE is not mincing words. A UAE official put out this incredibly blunt statement, saying, yes, Iran lost, and yes, the UAE won. It's a bold thing to say, for sure, but they believe they have the stats to back it up. And here's where that confidence is coming from. Look at these numbers. The UAE says it was hit with over 2,800 Iranian missiles and drones, but their defense systems, with help from the U.S., shot down a whopping 96% of them. That incredible success rate is why you're hearing that triumphant tone. So, okay. The strait is open, the missiles have stopped. It's really tempting to just breathe a sigh of relief and say the crisis is over, right? But honestly, that's not the whole story. This ceasefire, as great as it is, just kicks some very big, very dangerous cans down the road. Because this temporary truce, it doesn't solve 2 massive, lingering problems that are, without a doubt, going to be at the center of whatever comes next for the entire region. So here are the 2 biggest loose threads. First, you've got the ongoing power of Iran's proxy Hezbollah in Lebanon. That hasn't changed at all. And second, the elephant in the room, the world's deep, deep concerns about Iran's nuclear program. That hasn't gone anywhere. Over in Lebanon, the situation is basically just on pause. The Israeli Defense Forces have made it crystal clear. Their #1 goal is still to disarm Hezbollah. And they're still holding a 6-mile deep buffer zone in southern Lebanon. So yeah, the guns are quiet for now, but the actual conflict, it hasn't gone anywhere. And then, of course, there's the nuclear issue. What really keeps international leaders up at night is what happens to Iran's estimated 1,000 pounds of uranium and all of its advanced centrifuges. The big worry is that Iran plays the long game. They agree to a deal that has an expiration date, and the moment it expires, they've got everything they need to race toward a nuclear weapon. So, with these huge issues still hanging out there, what does the future actually look like? Is there any way to turn this temporary break into something that actually lasts? Well, most analysts are looking at Iran's move to open the strait as a classic confidence-building measure. Think of it this way. It's not the peace treaty itself. It's the handshake before you even sit down at the table. It's that crucial first step to lower the temperature so you can even start to talk. And we're hearing that those talks could happen like really soon. Word is there might be a second round of high-level peace talks as early as this weekend, with Pakistan being mentioned as a possible neutral location to host everybody. So what's the bottom line? Right now, the feeling among the experts seems to be one of, let's say, guarded optimism. Everyone agrees these are positive steps, and you can see a framework for a deal, but nobody's naive. They all know the really hard work of solving the Hezbollah and nuclear issues is still ahead, and it's going to be a painful, difficult process. And that leaves us all with the ultimate question, doesn't it? Is what we're seeing the beginning of a real, lasting peace for the region? Or is it just a fragile truce, a temporary pause before all these deep-rooted conflicts flare right back up again? For now, only time will tell.